I think one of the most overlooked, hardest parts of being an entrepreneur starting a company is figuring out what exactly do you do every single day. When you walk in the office, there's no set list of here's your tasks and all of the things that have to happen today. You got to figure it out. It's no different for us as we're starting Switchback and trying to set the vision and plant the course for where this company goes. And it's not easy to do any of this stuff. So Oli and I wanted to go through in this video today and talk about what is the one thing that we should be focused on? How do you even figure that out? Because it sounds so simple in theory. The hard part is trusting that you do pick the right one thing to focus on or the right couple things to focus on that really is going to set your business up for the next 10 years. And so that's what we're talking about today in this episode. And like always, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have questions for us, thoughts, comments, concerns, if this helps or doesn't help, please drop a comment below and let us know. We really do appreciate your guys' feedback. And thanks so much for being a part of the D.H.E group with us here as we build this company. We're going to dive into a topic that I think damn near every entrepreneur struggles with. Well, I think really anybody that's in any sort of business development, business leadership role. And it's the idea of the more focused you are on one thing, the more power you're going to have behind your business. So Oli and I are going to sort of brainstorm a little bit on the one things that we really need to be focused on as a company here and try and see if this can get us a little closer to where do we go? Like what should be the focus? Make sense? Oli?
Focusing on one thing seems like an impossible task. And this is something that, how many months have we been talking about this? Like, what is our one thing? What is our one thing?
Yeah.
We still don't have our one thing, but we're getting closer, I think. But here's the deal. This is an incredibly difficult thing to do. Like this is shit that I don't know, how old am I? 37, 38, somewhere in there. I still haven't figured it out. So if you're listening to this, you're going like, well, I don't know what to do. Like this shit's overwhelming. Just understand that we're just trying to break it down and just be real about it. Because like this morning I was listening to, who's the dude that's like, build $1 million business in a weekend. Like, go fuck yourself. You're not building $1 million business in a weekend. Sorry, but it's bullshit unless you're a billionaire. So move on. So that one thing, it just needs to be the one thing you're gonna do every day. So Matt, what's your one thing? What's your one thing every day?
So just a little more concept on this. And if anyone listening is familiar with the book, The One Thing, you're gonna understand where we're coming from. If not, just a really quick overview of what that book is and why it's so impactful in businesses. Written by Gary Keller, who is one of the founders of Keller Williams, which is one of the most gigantic real estate companies in the entire world. He realized a long time ago that if he just focused on doing one thing really, really, really good every single day, the compound effects of that are magical. So the way that they talk about it, and there's a podcast on this, and there's all sorts of stuff dedicated to the one thing now. It's a whole entire company. But the idea is, the way they frame it is, you need to set up your day so that every day there's one thing, one small thing that you do that has a dramatic impact on the future. And they like to compare it to a domino. So if you think of an enormous set of dominoes, right? You set them all up, you lay it all out, you plan, you strategize, you do all of the things. But what actually makes the dominoes fall over? Just knocking over one. Just that very first little small domino is all it takes for a huge chain reaction to happen. And the other example, I'm trying to find it here and it's not working, but we'll stop there. We can edit this part out. But it's hard to comprehend the compound impact of just getting really good at something over and over and over, and how big of an impact that has on your business.
What's your one thing then? Let's jump right in. I mean, I'm super curious because like this to me as a type double Z personality, like this shit doesn't make sense, right? I mean, it does, but it's extremely difficult to think about like, what is the one thing? Yeah. How do you break it down? How do you even, Matt, how the fuck am I even supposed to figure out what that one thing is?
Let's look at a couple different examples here, because maybe this gets the creative juices flowing. So let's use real estate as an example, or we can use your old world, insurance. Okay? If you were to go into the insurance industry again and try to build a practice from nothing, if you had to boil it down to like, man, there's one thing I could do every single day, what comes to mind?
That's the problem, is my mind goes to a million. I mean, honestly, I go to a million things.
Okay.
I think that's why I sucked at what I did to some extent was, dude, there's like 5,000 things. I think, like, I mean, to put it in perspective, the way that I think about it, I've got a buddy who's starting a broker, and he called me and he's like, "What advice do you have?" I'm like, "Spend a shitload of money entertaining people." I would entertain someone every single day. My one thing every day will be making sure that I entertain one person every single day, even though it pains me to say that. It'd be, sporting event, golf, entertaining one person every day. That would be my one thing.
So
I would literally not get up until 10 a.m. and I would entertain someone every day.
If you were to do that, that'd be 365 days if it was literally every day.
Well, yeah, I'm going to take some time to hang out with my fam.
All right, so say it's 5 days a week, 50 weeks out of the year. So 250 times a year that you're entertaining someone, right? If that is a different person every single time, that's 250 legit contacts with people where you get to talk, entertain, hang out. Could you build an enormous business if you just did that one thing every single day?
100%. And honestly, like, that is how you're going to build that type of business. You're not going to build like the cold calling shit, right? Like, yes, but to answer your question, 100%. I think if you were to say, I'm going to entertain one person every day, 5 days a week, that's 250 people a year. But actually, Matt, that's probably closer to like 300, 400, 500, because a lot of these are going to be multiple people that you're entertaining. So yeah, you're damn right. You're going to build relationships. Like, that would be my one and only focus. I wouldn't even go into the office.
So now let me ask you, if that's what you said, hey, I'm going to do this thing. I'm entertaining people every day. This is my goal. This is how I'm going to build a business. Does it work if you stop after a week or two?
No, you fail.
Does it work if you go a month straight, close no deals, and go, this sucks, it doesn't work?
Nope, you are an idiot.
Is it worth it 250 days later if you only got 2 or 3 deals out of it? I don't know how your commission structure works.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in the insurance industry, let's say I got 3 deals a year entertaining people, and those were qualified deals, like AKA they weren't mom and pop shit. Yeah, I mean, you're going to blow through your budget. Every single year, you're going to be a rock star. I mean, eventually, you're going to close 5, 10, 15 deals a year, which is insane. 100%. Like, but again, I think the whole crux there is like that one thing is really fucking difficult to commit to. It's so it's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why is it difficult?
Well, in the model I was in, it would have been expensive because I had to cover my own expenses. So there's no way in hell I could do it. Whereas if I were working for a big broker, or one of the big public brokers that give you big expense account, 100% I would do it.
So you mean it's too expensive to take someone out and have them to your house and have a barbecue or
to do that 250 days a year is a little bit aggressive. Yes, I mean you're probably talking, let's say $150 minimum per entertainment, right? Give or take. And I mean, so you're going to spend $30,000-$40,000 entertaining people at a minimum in your first year. I mean, like, if you have the cash, 100%. If you don't, that's tough. I think that's the mental hurdle of the whole one thing is you go like your mind, right? Our minds are really hardwired to look at the negative, not the positive.
Yeah.
Like I look and go, what if I spent $50,000 and didn't get a shit?
I think that there's some beauty in where you're going with this, because I think this is how the average person thinks. They worry about or figure out why it can't work. But entertaining someone, you don't have to spend $150. You can spend $20 and just take someone out to lunch every single day, and it's still some sort of entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, are you doing big old...
I don't know where the fuck you get a $20 lunch for 2 people.
Well, yeah, I guess it's 2024.
I mean, like, it's like 60.
You get my point, though.
Yeah, no. What's interesting, hear you say that, Matt, is it completely changes how I view that, right? Because you're right. It's a breakfast. It's a lunch. When I think of entertainment, I think golf. I think of, going to a sporting event. Yeah, I mean, if that was your one thing and you were focused only on entertaining, like if I said I'm going to do 3 entertaining things, I mean, you could even feasibly do it. I'm going to do a breakfast and a lunch every day.
Yep.
With someone. Yes, 100%. But you got to figure out how to make it special, though. Like that, I think we go down a whole rabbit hole here. But you're right.
If this is your one thing, and stick with me for a minute. If this is your one thing, I'm going to entertain 250 days a year. Could you not go find like 3 or 4 venues and be like, hey, I'm going to every single day bring someone here for lunch. Can you hook me up with something? Every single day I'm going to do something. Or every other day. Could you not go find people to partner with that could cut into that expense line?
In terms of venues, possibly. I don't think restaurants would give a shit. I mean, honestly, I don't think.
I mean, they might say, well, can I be on your... Like, will you talk about me? Will you post about me? Will you...
See, now you're talking about a whole different world that I wasn't familiar with back then. But yeah, I mean, like, hey, every day I'm going to post to I'm meeting with a Good Day Cafe. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean.
There's the one thing is I'm meeting with people. How you do it is infinitely limitless. But at the end of the day, you can't get distracted by the fact that what you are trying to get really good at, the one thing of having an entertaining event with someone every single day. How you do it, it's totally up to you to figure that out. But there's a million ways to make that happen.
The other thing is, like, I would say, like, the one thing in this regard, one thing being entertaining, it's too broad. I think you still have to drill down a little bit tighter than that. Like, you have to have some parameters around it. And you have to have some guidelines. Does that make sense, Matt? Like, you're saying entertaining, like, hey, I'm taking you out to lunch at Redstone. I mean, people aren't going to give a shit, right? That's not really entertainment. Yes, they're getting a free meal, but it's not really entertainment.
I don't know. I think it depends on you and your people in your industry. I know.
That industry is not going to matter. They get offered free lunch all the time. You got to do something special. Like, I mean, and
that's where this gets so hard.
Yes.
I mean, I would be pretty happy if someone was like, hey, you want to just hang out? We had good conversation and we actually like had a connection. I wouldn't give a fuck if we were at Perkins or at like it the spot doesn't matter as much. Like, I think you're already in your head over either way. And we're not here to talk about insurance. But my point is, it's really hard to pick, but it's not really hard to pick. You do it. You write it down and you say, this is the thing I'm going after. How you do it, it's up to you. How Oli does it is going to be different than how the next person on the street does it. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, I heard this years ago from a guy, and it was marry. You've heard me say this before. Marry the mundane. Just doing the boring shit. And that's like the one thing. Like do the little things, do the blocking and tackling, because that's what other people fail to do. But it's not fun, right? Because like you said yesterday, I mean, if you pick up the phone and you call 10 retailers every single day, for the first 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you might go nowhere. But after that, where does it go? You get through to one person. You get one opportunity. You get one. Like
it just takes one.
And it's not like the tough part is like yes, it's that one thing, Matt. But it's also the mindset that you have to have behind it. Of like, I am just like Jesse Diggins. I'm going to embrace the suck.
Yep.
Like because a lot of this shit sucks.
That is it.
I mean, what, Matt? For how many months have we been talking about what's our one thing? What are we doing every day? And it changes for both of us, I think. But it also like it's because we get fucking bored and we don't see results. We're so ingrained to have results instantly. And that's not the way the world works, man.
That's not the way it works. And that's why we're having this conversation again and we're recording it to, I mean, look back and be like, oh, yeah, that was the day that we decided. But it's not it's simple to do, but it's not that easy to do.
And let's not forget, though, that yesterday was a pretty tense day at the Switchback world. Like, we were really kind of angry. Everybody was angry. Maybe Abby
I was angry. I don't know that you or Abby were.
Yeah, you were angry. You left.
I wasn't even angry. It was just like, there's like this, let's just figure this shit out.
Well, I mean, if we could figure this shit out, we'd be like $1 billion company tomorrow. But no, like it was really funny though, because Abby, you laughed, and I looked at Abby. I was like, man, he was frustrated today, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I get it, and like I respect it, but like that's part of this conversation too, right? Is like you're gonna have tenseness, and you're gonna say shit. Like I was saying something yesterday to Matt, and you got really pissed off at me. We're like, dude, why are you chasing that rabbit hole? What are you doing? Is that going to make us $100,000 a month? And
let's go through it. Let's go through it. So what was your idea? What were you chasing?
So we signed up for a athlete seeding thing for 1 month to give product to Division I athletes across the country. Basically, it's like Tinder, I think, for athletes to partner with brands, right? Like
dude, I can't take you sometimes.
Why?
It's like Tinder. It's not anything like Tinder.
Isn't Tinder just about matching people with people? I don't fucking know. But like you match with people. Like you see how many Instagram followers I have. You're like, okay, cool athlete. Like, yeah, we want to partner with you. So anyway, we're sending these athletes. We're matching with athletes. We're sending a product. We got our first athlete that responded, and they were like, dude, your product is good. I want to figure out how to work with you guys. So I was all like, yeah, dude, like let's use this as an opportunity to, put our tentacles all over Michigan State. And Matt's like, you're a fucking idiot. I mean, he didn't say it that way, but I just said what he was thinking.
Hold on, a little more color. You got the Michigan State guy.
Yep.
and there's 12 other people that are on this platform that we're
No, there's 9. We get 10 matches, Matt.
okay. We're matched with 10. We're tindered with 10 people, and you're gonna send product, right? That's what we do. How does that lead to? You said get our tentacles all over Michigan State. How does that lead to? So one of the athletes is a track athlete at Michigan State. How does that lead to Switchback getting all over Michigan State?
Well, if you're smoking your hopium pipe like me, you think that he's just going to become a massive spreader of the gospel of Switchback all over the campus, right? Unfortunately, I think, like, dude, I think in my mind, I sit here and I go, well, dude, if he likes the product, he's going to tell all of his friends about it. Because, like, when I like something, I'd love to tell people. That's not how the world works. Again, like I said it, I was smoking some fucking hopium yesterday. I was like, oh man, dude, this is going to be so dope. Like, this guy's going to spread the word. We're going to sell 1,021 packs on, Michigan. That is a total founder's trap right there. Like that like, I mean, I didn't want to back down yesterday because backing down would have meant I was weak or like some other shit. Even though, like, eventually I was like, yeah, dude, you're right. But seriously, like I think it was like, oh man, like I got super excited thinking about this opportunity. Like, oh, if we send them a 21 pack and tell them to hand it out, or send them a 21 pack, it's like, it doesn't take a lot of our time, a lot of our effort, but maybe it goes somewhere. And Matt's perspective was like, it's still time and effort, still time and money. So where are you going to, like, why would you do that? Right, Matt?
That's where I was going with it, right? Like, you got 10 people, you're sending 10 21 packs, right? That's still hundreds of dollars that we're sending, and then it's a hope that they go do something. Whereas if, let's just say that NIL and college athletes is the one thing that we are super bullish on, and we really think this is going to work, how would we approach that channel if we really thought that this was the thing? You get what I mean?
Yes. And I think like yesterday, the frustration, right, in the one thing, right, it was like, this takes time away. And in my mind, I'm like, well, it doesn't take that much time. We can go test this process. Like, we have to test the water somewhere, somehow. So it's an easy way to do it. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's if it goes nowhere, we get no traction, it's $500 plus, $400 in product given away for what? Like, nothing? So, I mean, it's difficult, right? And it took my mind off of what we were going to do, what we wanted to do, which is go focus on retail. Focus on any retailer we can get our 10 packs into. And that's the one thing. Reaching out to retailers, niche, independent, whatever. And then all of a sudden I got sidetracked by the shiny object.
And I'm just as guilty. And Abby came in this morning and we sort of sat down and reprioritized who's focused on what, because we're all over the place. We're new. We're a young company, and we're trying to see what works. But I think what we sometimes forget is that there is a roadmap already on how to build a company like this. There are lots of roadmaps. We just need to pick one of them and follow it. Like, the NIL thing could be freaking sweet. It absolutely could. But that should be our focus then. And everything we do should cater towards college athletes and college students and college people, if that's where we're going to spend a lot of time to seed the product.
Which is the inherent problem because, right, like, again, we spent so much time talking about it, and we've spent time talking about other markets and other opportunities, right? Like, when at the end of the day, like, we need to prove the concept of the market that we believe we can prove it with. And we have the roadmap for that. We have that. Now we just need to stop letting other shit distract us by becoming the 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 things we do every day.
Right.
As opposed to, like, the one thing, which is, right, like we said it. The e-commerce piece, it's not easy. It sucks. It's horrible. It's miserable. It's a pain in the ass. It is like lighting money on fire. But once you're with an awesome agency and you have content being made, like, things go somewhat hands off, right? And so the e-commerce is going to go. Yes, we need to oversee it. Yes, we need to make content. But the one thing that we need to do every day is reach out to retail, because we see a pathway to having thousands of stores with our product. Is that right?
I think so. I think it is a absolutely proven way to get a business like ours off the ground. Like, let's not forget our goal. It's not a monetary goal necessarily. It is, but it's if you think about what does it take to get a company to be successful, to keep it going to the next stage, at least one for like us, where we're not taking massive.
You got to be cash flow positive. You need money coming. You need more money coming in the door than going out the door.
And how many people do we really need to get to be buying our product every month? We get cash flow positive.
1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, I mean 1,021 packs a month, and we're in great shape as an e-commerce company.
And if you think about it through that lens, there's 1,000 kids in my kids' elementary school. Like, we need one elementary school in the entire state of Minnesota to buy our product, right?
Yeah.
There's 3 million people in the Twin Cities metro. We need to find 1,000 of them, which is hard to do. But at the end of the day, man, like, it's if you really pick one area and hone in on it and really, like, retail. If retail is the thing, and we don't mean Target and Costco necessarily, although someday, but just retail in general is the channel. Then back to our entertainment example with the insurance world, every day we're talking to some retailer somewhere about the product. And if it takes 6 months to get one on board, sweet.
So what's your one thing? What is your one thing?
My one thing?
Yeah, so I guess what is your one thing that you're going to do every day? What is your one thing? I think that's like the ultimate crux is, like, it's not just one thing, like one retail. I'm guessing Gary Keller, or whatever the hell his name was, he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to make cold calls today, right? Like, it was like, what is it?
His one thing was he knew if he called at least a certain number of people every single day that it would pan out. Now, this is 40 years ago, a different world, but it was literally, I'm going to pick up the phone and call 50 people or 100 people every single day. Right? And you do that every day as a realtor, it will work. I mean, you could suck. You could be just horrible with people and no, it wouldn't work. But assuming that you can actually talk to a human being, if you call 100 people, it works. My one thing that I'm absolutely focused on is figuring out the digital. It's figuring out the YouTube, the email, like those platforms.
So I got a question for you. How the fuck do we crack retail if you're not focused on retail?
I'm focused on the big retail, but I can't do that every single day. There's only so many people to talk to there.
No, but you see why this becomes a really challenging thing, right? Like, because, like, we're just talking about the one thing. We want to crack into retail, and Matt's focused on e-commerce. And so, like, that's the other piece of it is like, break that down. Help the people listening understand the dichotomy there, because and not that that's a bad thing, right? But it's not as easy as just saying, if I do this one thing.
So let's take a step back. Maybe there's a missing layer here. In your mind, what am I here to do? What is my role in the company?
You're the chief marketing officer. Anything to do with marketing, you are responsible for.
And in your mind, what is your, obviously you're CEO, leader of the company, but, like, what is your main focus for the next 6 months?
My main focus for the next 6 months is sales and product development.
Okay. And Abby's main focus is our social media manager.
Abby's main job is everything social media.
So
digital.
So if retail is what we want to crack, let's just say retail is the thing that we want to figure out in the next 6 months. And e-com, because we're there. We have a website and we're, right? Like, me as the marketing guy doing marketing stuff, should I be breaking down doors trying to talk to retailers every day?
No.
Or should I be focused on really figuring out how marketing works for this company?
You should be focused on how the fuck we get 1,000 sales a day on Shopify.
Right? Like, I am going to do big retail because that is I know the industry. I came from big retail. So, of course, it makes sense for me to talk to Costco and Target and Cub and Deerbergs and the big grocery stores because I speak their language. I've been doing it for 20 years. But my day-to-day thing, there's only so many big retailers, and you only get to talk to them so often. Right? Like, Target reviews twice a year. That's it. 2 times a year you get to talk to Target about these categories. That's it. So what do you do the rest of the time? You have to build a brand. Because when you go to talk to Target, you have to be able to show them that you're doing something. People
Wait, we don't sit in the lobby for 6 months and just wait for the next category review?
Right? Like,
we're back.
If your focus for the next 6 months, you, Oli, is driving sales, we think that the best way to do that, or at least I think, and I think you're there too, the best way to do that is to get to retail. To get to retailers in the Twin Cities that we can have conversations with to get our product in front of people.
100%. And here's the other interesting piece too is, like, you know, when you look at that one thing, for me, the one thing is going to be reaching out, retail, and not getting sidetracked and just shit canning everything else. Because the reality is like 99% of shit's not going to pan out, right? Like,
Yeah.
You're going to get it. I'm going to get excited because someone's going to reach out, and I'm going to like, yeah, like what's really going to come about from it? Nothing, right? Like, but the hopium, right? If you wake up with the hopium pipe in your mouth, you're going to go, shit. Like, yeah, man, like this could be an opportunity. But really, it's not. And you need to be able to admit that and focus on what is the end goal. So if we want to be fundamentally change health and nutrition for people on the go, we need to get to where the fuck people on the go shop, which is a retail store, which is a grocery store, which is a, outdoor store, you name it, right?
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
we don't need to be, out there talking with every Tom, Dick, and Harry about God knows what. We need to actually be in stores where people can grab us.
And from a marketing standpoint, at least in the e-com world, the most important asset that we own, our website, but secondly, it's the emails. It's the email list, and it's treating people the way that they should be treated through email. It's fostering community. It's engaging with people. Like, the one thing of getting really fucking good at email could take any e-com company to the moon, right? Am I literally typing an email every single day? No, but my one thing is focused on how the hell do we win in that channel? How do we make sure that email is the best that it could possibly be? And that's a big focus, because right now it's okay for us, but how do we get it even better? And secondly, then it's figuring out how the fuck do we grow the followings on socials and building it. So maybe my one thing is community. If I had to really think through what am I trying to do every single day, it's foster community, build a community.
How? Like, again, like I think it's
the same thing as us saying we're going to go to retail. Well, how? Like, there's a lot more to it, but the focus is one thing.
I like it. No, I mean, I think that's why it's so difficult. And I think that so many people struggle with it, right? Because it is not as easy as waking up. Like the one thing is not waking up. I'm going to work out at 5 a.m. That's my one thing. Like, that's not going to do shit. Well, fitness-wise it might, but everything else, no. That one thing has got to be a repeatable process. And I think it's probably got to be somewhat measurable, right? Like, you've got to understand whether or not you're actually doing it. And so for me, is it 5 retailers? I mean, 5, 10, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But there's got to be that number that, Matt, you and I can discuss later. Like, what is that number? What is realistic? And the other thing is, if you come out of the gates at 10, and I made this mistake in insurance, what do you have to hit someone 7 times before they actually respond or some shit like that. Yeah. And so, like, you got to have a cadence. And I was like, well, I'm going to make 30 cold calls a day when I started, which is like the dumbest thing you can do because you lose that cadence immediately. And then if you don't make 30, you get really demoralized. And then it becomes 20, and then it becomes 10, and it becomes 5. Before you do it, you're not making any damn cold calls because you're demoralized, you don't have a cadence, you don't have a rhythm, you don't have a process. So build that process. You don't need Navy SEAL level shit to do this. Like, that's just dumb. You just need to commit and say, I am going to do this. I'm going to make 5 calls a day. These are the 50 retailers I'm targeting for the next 40 days. I'm going to call them every single week and email them, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Like, bingo. It's that simple.
It's that simple.
You don't need to go read Navy psychology to figure this shit out.
One thing that comes to mind when I hear you say that, I think part of our problem in America in the way that it works with work is that we have this stupid ass construct called the 40-hour work week, right? 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, or whatever your shifts are that you end up working. But do you really need, is 40 hours truly what it takes to do what you just said?
No. I mean, you could probably do that, and like that unto itself is probably 10 hours a week of total time commitment. And that's the other question is like, how are you utilizing that time throughout the day?
Yeah.
And what else are you doing? Like, for me, it should be, you've said this to me 100 times. My one of the things, not my one thing, but one of the things I need to do more of is go meet people. Tell people the Switchback story. Why do we exist? Why have I spent all this money building this business?
Yeah.
It's not because I like to, just spend money and be really cool and get credit card points. It's the exact opposite. It's because I believe that we are empowering people to fundamentally change their health and nutrition. Like, there's a story there. Why not go tell it? Like, I can spend 10 hours a week prospecting and 30 hours a week out there evangelizing, talking about the process.
Well, and I don't even like. I think this 40-hour work week is just
it's just dumb.
It's stupid because you going out, like, let's just say, and I'm not saying don't work. I'm not saying be lazy. I'm not saying shortcut the system. But what I am saying is that the time is arbitrary. What matters is the outcome. So if your goal every single day is, your one thing is talk to retailers, and you set a goal, because you're right, you got to be able to track it, and you say every single day I'm going to talk to 5 retailers. Does it matter if it takes you an hour or 5 hours to do that?
No.
Like, people get too hung up on, I have to fill time. I have to be busy. I have to do all this shit. I have a 40-hour work week. I have to do, go. And they lose track of really focus. This is why the one thing or honing in on something specific is so powerful, because it's not a function of time necessarily. It's a function of doing the right task and doing it better than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, to your point on the 40-hour stuff, and it's really interesting. Like, if you actually look at, I think most studies show the average American office jockey works about 20 hours a week, even though they're in the office between 40 and 50.
Right, they're just fucking off for most of the time.
100%. If you just get rid of the fucking around and you just dive in, you will get shit done. It's no different than us. Like, dude, talk is easy. Actually doing shit is really difficult, and it sucks most of the time because they're like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah, no, not interested. Oh, yeah, you're too expensive. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, that fucking sucks, and you got to have motivation to wake up and come back and do it again and again and again and again and again. Otherwise, just don't do it, right? Go find something easy to do, like work at a McDonald's. Well, that's probably not as easy as it sounds.
Well, I think that was a big light bulb for me this week, is like, we are too close to Switchback, meaning we totally understand, we're totally bought in. We understand why you should have it. We understand the benefits of drinking a Switchback every day. We understand the power of fruits and veggies. We understand this healthy lifestyle.
Wait a second. Fruits and veggies are good for you?
We are so bought into it already that when we go talk to other people and they don't get it, it's like, well, that sucks. They don't like us. They don't like our product. They don't believe in it. Why don't they see it? And to me, at the end of the day, Switchback we're a sales company. Like, we're a marketing company building a brand, but we have to be a sales company. We have to sell people on the product, just like any other thing out there.
You just had a light bulb go off. Like, it's so funny. In sales, when you get a rejection, I thought it was great. A company called Sandler. They're totally dope at sales training. They had this thing like a no doesn't mean no forever. It's just a no for right now. And they're just not ready to buy, right? And I think about that a lot of times with our products, right? I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I love it. My family loves it. You love it. But, you're right. You'll encounter someone that's like, yeah, I don't know. And like, it's just reframing that. So in my mind, I just kind of had this reframe mindset. Like, I have learned to respect my body and understand that, like, I have this short period of time on earth. And in the latter years, I can either have a body that's destroyed or a body that I've respected. And so a lot of times I think about it like I'm choosing to respect my body. And there are other people that are like, it's okay if you don't want to respect your body. I'm not saying you don't respect your body, but that's the mindset that you have to have if you're building something. It's like, when someone says no, like, yeah, it's okay. Like, some people just don't respect their body. That's totally dope. And there's nothing wrong with that's my perspective. I'm not saying that's accurate. I'm saying that's how I keep going.
Cool, man. Well, I mean, for me, this was helpful to talk through it. I feel like we made some progress here, and of course, there's more to figure out on, like, how do you actually then do the things we talked about. There's strategy, like, there's other things involved, but at least we honed in on the two things that we are ultimately responsible for and need to be focused on every single day. And it's 365 days from now. If we can stick to this, as boring and mundane and tough and difficult and everything it's going to be, I really feel that this is where you look back and go, we made that decision to do this thing, and here we go. I'm excited.
I love it. Respect your body, baby.
Any last things to add before we wrap up?
Yeah. If you made it this far, you understand, like, it is tough. This shit isn't easy. Matt and I aren't perfect at it. We're going to probably yell at each other in 2 weeks because one of us got sidetracked or both of us got, like, it is tough. Don't fool yourself and think that this is going to be something like you're going to commit to it today and it's going to be easy. It isn't that easy. it takes time, it takes grace, it takes forgiveness, it takes respecting yourself and understanding that like you are human. So go out there and start small and go big. I mean, that's probably what I'd tell anybody.
Cool. I appreciate that. And here we go. Onwards and upwards. That's it.